But I think there's one place to start, and that is with Paul Pogba. He has tested positive for testosterone, and he faces up to a maximum of a 4-year ban. Now, for that to happen, they would have to prove that he did not, that he took nandrolone testosterone intentionally.
That's right.
With the aim of increasing performance. I think that's going to be very difficult to prove. His defense will likely involve a whole bunch of mitigating circumstances that you try to pull out. But the reality in the immediate is that once again, it's another blow between this and the injuries and the brother and the childhood friends trying to extort money from him.
Yeah.
It's incredible that we find ourselves in this situation given where Pogba was 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, I mean the downfall since the 2018 World Cup, really, where he was on top of the world, as you know, in the way he played and also what he won, is just incredible, remarkable. You don't have to feel sorry for it. It's not about feeling sorry or not. It's just that it's another challenge ahead of him after, as you said, the witchcraft and the extortion, the racketing, all of that. On top of all the injuries, on top of that move to Juve, that return to Juve that hasn't worked out really last year at all. And now this, whether it's a 4-year ban, a 2-year ban, whether he got away with it, which looks very likely. The sample B is going to come back before the end of the week. I think Paul himself knows that will be positive.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, there's when people are tested by doping agencies, they test what they give 2 samples. They test the A sample. Most of the time, obviously, that's negative, and so it ends there. If it's positive, then they go to double check. They test the B sample to see if there's a discrepancy. Frankly, in 99.99% of cases, because it's the same sample, as long as they did it correctly the first time, the second one will be coming back positive. The assumption here is certainly that it will be coming back positive.
Yeah, and Paul has admitted to Juventus that he took some food supplements that were given to him in the US, in Miami, by a doctor who's been his friend for a long time, and that those nutritional supplements have testosterone in them. So he said, I took testosterone without knowing they were in that food supplement, but all I did is take some food supplement.
Now, the issue I have with that is that every athlete knows that before you even take an aspirin, you check the club doctor. If the club doctor is not there, you at least read the labels on. In this occasion, it didn't happen. The doctor who gave it to him as well, I don't know who this guy is, and I give you a food supplement. I know you're a professional athlete. It's not like, oh look, it's my friend Paul. Like he works at the corner shop. No, it's my friend Paul who happens to be a famous professional athlete. Yeah. I know I'm a doctor. I have a responsibility to go and check this as well, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, the final responsibility is always going to be with Pogba. Ignorance is not an excuse, but I just find this like an incredible chain of events that you would allow this to happen if you're Pogba.
Yeah, especially at 30. If you were a young player, maybe didn't really know about everything, maybe. But now he's 30. He's got experience. He knows far too well what can happen. He's seen it before, obviously. And you're right. I apologize to Juve for not mentioning to the club, for not asking the permission to the club doctor to take it. Can I take this or not? This came from the US, where it's allowed, by the way, which is not the case in Europe for that food supplement. And maybe he thought it was okay because you could get it in Miami, and he thought it was okay in Turin, Paris, Madrid, London, wherever.
It's also, I mean, just to be clear on this, and I know there's a cohort out there who's convinced that all footballers are taking performance-enhancing drugs all the time and whatever else. I have my own views on this, but if you are going to dope and cheat, this is not the time. First of all, you probably wouldn't do it by taking testosterone, but you certainly wouldn't do it in Pogba's situation when you're coming back from an injury. You know you're not going to be playing entire games, so stamina is not really the issue here. So I would feel pretty confident that they're going to accept the fact that it was accidental.
Yeah.
And so then the 4 years would become 2 years minus whatever mitigating circumstances they can come up with. But frankly, Jules, I don't see too many more how they can reduce this. And as most people know, it's written into his contract. If you test positive, we can cancel your contract. And I think that is a decision Juve are going to have to make if he's found guilty.
On the contract, Gab, it would be very interesting, obviously, to see what Juve do. If he's banned 2 years, he could be the greatest player of all time, like a mix of Pele, Maradona, Messi, and Cristiano. And there's not a club that would say, okay, well, we will still pay you for 2 years and we wait for you to come back, right?
Yeah, and look, I think there's different things that they can do here. Certainly the vibe, the sensation, as they would say in Spain, is that Juve will seriously consider cancelling his contract if he's found guilty. And part of the reason behind this is the broader concerns with his fitness, the muscular injuries. I mean, he got injured again now. And a big part of it is the fact that, he makes 8 million euros net a year plus 2 million in bonuses. He's got another 3 years left on his contract.
Yeah.
That's a cost of 60 million to Juve over 3 years. That is a ton of money for a club that, for a whole bunch of different reasons that we all know of, has lost enormous amounts of money over the last 3 years. I think Juve feel that, in their midfield, with Miretti, with Fagioli, they have other options. And it's not like he was a key part of this Juve team. We've said it before, right? He's a cherry on top if he can keep his fitness. So certainly the vibe, like there wouldn't be this much discussion in the press, in the Italian media, about him having his contract cancelled if Juve weren't
briefing
that it is something that they're very seriously
for sure.
considering.
I think he's very much aware of it as well.
Which then begs the question, what can you do? Because, again, we don't know the length of the ban, but I would assume it's going to come in between 1 and 2 years.
Yeah.
You become a free agent. Do you go train by yourself for a year and then try to have another go somewhere?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, why it's even weird in a way is the timing of this, because he came after, the announcement was Monday night, as you said, Gab, earlier. On Monday, there was this interview that he gave to Al Jazeera TV channel, which was done before, but was broadcasted on Monday before we knew about the doping ban and test positive. And in that interview with Al Jazeera, he said, listen, after the whole witchcraft, extortion incident with my brothers and the childhood friends, I thought about stopping football. So already then, the motivation was very little. He was injured. He clearly didn't have his head around football, playing football. He didn't even know what he wanted to do. Then he came back. He played a little bit so far this season, fell up to him, and we saw him playing actually decent football. Yeah,
2 half-hour spells.
Yeah, that was okay. Right. And this happens now where easily you could think like, you know what, I've had enough of all of this. Of the last 5 years, I've had enough. Or maybe the last 3 years, I've had enough now. There was obviously everything that happened with France at the Euro 2021, that game against Switzerland where there was insult with his own teammates. There was an argument with Deschamps on the touchline for everybody to see. There was the tensions with Kylian Mbappe and who should be the biggest star in this squad, blah, blah, blah. Then the witchcraft, the brothers, and now this, the injuries. It's just, I could completely understand if he said, you know what, I've had enough now. This is me done. I'm going to look after my 3 children, my wife, do something else. I've got enough money in the bank. And that's it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you wonder, is this the moment that you walk away? Part of me, and I'll declare my bias here, is I really like the guy. I've had the privilege of meeting him more than once. I find him to be charming, funny, I love him, intelligent. I've only had these experiences with him. Maybe there's another side to him or whatever. And so I like to think that, maybe if he does get banned, he takes a 1 year clean break, looks after himself, and then maybe in a year's time when his ban is spent, maybe the time off allows him to finally recover his muscular injuries. He's going to be 31 years old. Yeah. There's players who play well past 35. If it's about standing around and pinging the long balls, who knows? Maybe he'll become a sweeper. I don't know. Maybe he'll go the.
He will still be good enough for some leagues. There's no doubt.
Was it Franck Sauzet?
Franck Sauzet.
Oh see, impressive, right?
Atalanta's Franck
Sauzet. Who reinvented himself as a sweeper after playing number 10.
Laurent Blanc as well was a number 10 that then went to number 6 that then went to.
Was he like the world's slowest sweeper? Number 10?
Yeah, but he was very technical.
Well, Frank Leboeuf was a number 10.
Of course.
Who's kept out of sight by David Ginola. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Having rattled off a bunch of French ghosts from the past, we're going to hope that Pogba doesn't become one of them. I want to also point something out from what we said. Just to be clear, this this supplement that he took is something which it's because it's synthetic testosterone.
Yeah.
You would test positive. It's not like it's allowed in the US.
No, but you can buy it. You can buy it in the US.
If I, surprise, surprise, I'm not a professional athlete at this time.
Not yet.
I can go get a doctor to write a prescription for it in the US and take this synthetic testosterone.
Yeah.
In Europe, it's not licensed at all.
No.
So it would be impossible to do on this side of the pond. I think it's important to clarify to clarify this bit as well. Going back to Pogba and kind of his legacy, obviously 2018 World Cup, nothing's going to take that away. But I do wonder, there was a moment in time when it looked like, and I've written about this and others, where it looked like Pogba and Neymar are going to be the two next global superstars. That is the next gen to Cristiano and Messi. For different reasons, it hasn't worked out that way.
No, I mean, I still remember today seeing him as an under 15 in France, in Paris, being the best thing I've seen in football for, I don't know, any age group between under 20 and like literally little grassroots players. He was incredible. He was really, really incredible. And then at that time, everybody thought he was going to have a great career and be a great player. And in fairness, he still had a good career. He won things with Juve, he won things with United, with France, obviously. But he still should have, there's still a feeling that he should have been better. He should have been a better player. He could have achieved more things. The 2013 Under-20 World Cup, he was outstanding in that tournament. For people playing with his age, he was already too good, way too good for his age. And after that, the 2014 World Cup, he was the best young player of the tournament. And then obviously 2018 was the top of it all. It's just, I think it's a real shame. Outside of the injuries and all the off the field stories that we mentioned, that he never really fulfilled all that potential. And I don't know if had he stayed in Juve instead of going to United, had he stayed at United the first time round and not went to Juve for his first spell there, if that would have changed, what he achieved in the end. But it's true that the turning point still seemed that move to United.
Yeah, and look, I have to think personally that those injuries would still have happened. You can't blame the injuries on Manchester United.
No.
Can you blame it on the fact that they joined a chaotic, poorly run club at the time that made a bunch of bad decisions, kept changing managers, appointed the wrong guys? Sure. And that obviously hurt him as well and hurt his performances. But, the injuries, which I really think were the main thing, because I think Pogba had the leadership skills to be stronger than that. Like, okay, Mourinho, no problem. Van Gaal, no problem. Solskjaer, no problem. Like, I can work with all of them, and I'm so good that I'll make the difference. And that's what you expect from a leader, from a star player, right? I just really think it was the injuries that derailed them, and then all the other stuff. You remember the nonsense, like Mourinho taking the vice captaincy, all the stupid stuff, like. That obviously exacerbated the situation, but the starting point was the injuries, and I think those would have probably happened anywhere. As well as the off-the-pitch nonsense with the brother and the extortion and whatnot. Yeah. But going back to the original question, I just thought in terms of global commercial superstar, I remember, I think I probably wrote it at the time. I said, Cristiano and Messi, obviously, and nobody's going to realistically assume that the next pair of global superstars are going to reach the level on the pitch of those two. But commercially, I really thought they could. Neymar's been selling things since he was 16 years old, right? Commercially, he is, and certainly back then, was enormously popular in South America and in Asia in particular, maybe more so than in Europe. Pogba as well had the smile, had the charisma. Yeah. They had all these things going for them in a way that Cristiano and Messi, I remember talking to a marketing expert about this, they're actually, they're obviously commercial juggernauts and they're incredibly popular, but they're not as popular as they might be if they were better, if they were like Roger Federer types or like Tiger Woods type. They never reach that level, maybe because it's not in their personality, for whatever reason. Now that those two are out of the picture, are the next two candidates? I'm assuming, I think I know the answer to this. Yeah. It's Erling and Mbappe.
Yeah, I think so. But for Pogba, I remember a game at Old Trafford when I was there, and he was on the side of the stadium. like above the club shop for the people who've been to Old Trafford. And in the matchday program, literally every page of advertising, and there's a lot because United are that club, he was pretty much on every page.
Right.
So he was Pogba with a mobile phone company, like a partner of United, sponsor of United, then of a drink, then of, I don't know, some tires or whatever, then of this. And he was everywhere. And I think United also, when they signed him, they knew, okay, we signed this superstar who is like a marketing machine in a way, which is what he was. And maybe also that, in a way, at some point, kind of deflected a little bit maybe his attention outside of football, because there was a lot of that. There was, I think, a lot of pressure from all the sponsors, all the expectations. And I remember talking to him about it, and it felt that there was a time it was a lot.
So we agree Pogba and Neymar were marketing or machines at that time in a way that maybe Cristiano, well, certainly I think Cristiano and Messi are not. Are Haaland and Mbappe on that level? Do they have the attitude? Do they have, the desire, perhaps even, think back to the famous, David Beckham quote from when he was 14 years old, when he said, he didn't say like, I want to become a footballer. He says like, I want to become a famous footballer.
Yeah.
It needs a certain kind of person to go and do that, right? They need to have the natural charisma, and they need to have the willingness to go and do this. Do you see that in Haaland and Mbappe?
It's a good question. I mean, I always find players going abroad on pre-season, for example, or with the international team, and see what happens there. Mbappe can go anywhere, and literally hundreds of people will be outside the hotel waiting for him. I mean, I remember when they went to Japan with PSG, and Neymar is a superstar in Japan as well. And maybe Japan is maybe where, and you live there, but maybe this is where we can judge the level of celebrity or celebrityness, if you want. And Pogba, Neymar, Mbappe were like literally idolized there, and they had a contract with sponsors from there. Every time they were going there, it was literally a sea of people waiting for them. I don't know if Haaland would bring that. I don't think he might never have been to Japan yet. But certainly it feels like with Haaland, I'm not so sure, but with Kylian, everywhere he goes, and all the contracts now he's getting through sponsors are all around the world. So I think that stardom is maybe not yet at that marketing machine level,
of course,
but not far.
All right. Well, final word on Pogba. At the cost of repeating myself, I find it sad given what he could have done, because I genuinely like the guy.
Me too.
I just hope, maybe Ban comes in, year off, family, clear the mind, maybe resolve the nonsense with the extortion and whatever else.
But you know what could drag on as well is that this is a criminal charges to take doping products in Italy, right? So there could also be a case.
It's criminal charges if it's found to be intentional.
Right.
Part of a performance enhancing plan, which we don't know what the court's going to find, but certainly if things stand with the supplement story and whatever else, I don't think he would get charged for it.
Okay, so at least that would be a thing that he doesn't have to face.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.